FinCEN recently imposed a civil money penalty of $125 million against UBS Financial Services for violation of the Bank Secrecy Act. By reading the consent order, a lot of things indicate a problem of internal leadership. Stay with me until the end and you will understand what I'm talking about. UBS admitted the facts described in the consent order, agreed to pay the penalty, and committed to comply with a series of measures. The document covers deficiencies in transaction monitoring, customer due diligence, governance, and the filing of suspicious activity reports. It also described the practical consequences of those deficiencies. FinCEN concluded that UBS failed to monitor more than 61,000 foreign currency wire transactions, which represented about $10.5 billion. The institution had already entered into a consent order with FinCEN back in 2018. At the time, UBS committed to correcting weaknesses in its anti-money laundering program, including deficiencies in the monitoring of foreign currency wires. Also, the implementation of a new automated surveillance system. That new system was expected to be implemented much earlier. According to FinCEN, the implementation was delayed, and when the platform was finally deployed, significant problems remained. Some transactions were not transmitted to the monitoring systems. Others arrived without complete counterparty information. The implementation did not include an adequate exception rule or error reporting mechanisms. The institution also lacked complete data mapping and testing across all of the systems. FinCEN later found that UBS had selected an incorrect and partial data feed. In a sample reviewed by the institution, more than 5% of foreign currency wires were completely excluded from monitoring, while 12% lacked certain counterparty information. What those finds show us is interesting. This is a case of failure of technical implementation in the right time and in the right way. This illustrates the complexity of implementing regulatory infrastructure inside a financial institution. Is this the fault of a technology team? It is hard to say. Regulatory, legal, and compliance team may interpret the same requirements in a different way. Technology teams require precise functional specifications. The product teams need to understand how the control will affect the customer journey. The operations team need procedures that can be executed consistently. And the senior management must balance timeline, budget, regulatory exposure, and commercial priorities. One of the most difficult responsibilities in this project is translating regulatory expectations into technology and operation requirements that every team understands in the same way. At the end, test everything and make sure they cover what is needed. This type of project in a financial institution requires strong leadership, as it usually competes for limited resources. Engineering capability is limited, as well as technology budget. All of this for a topic that does not generate direct revenue to a business. The person responsible for compliance and regulatory infrastructure needs sufficient authority to challenge priorities, secure resources, and maintain organizational attention over the long period of time. That individual needs leadership and a lot of resilience. In the UBS case, some of the implementation problems were identified only years later, after questions from FinCEN and other regulators, leading to deep investigation and involvement of external consultants. By that point, the institution had already processed a substantial volume of transactions without monitoring. For me, sitting at the board of a financial institution, the question to avoid a similar situation is straightforward. Does the compliance leader know what has to be done? Does it have enough organizational power to secure technology priority? Is that person capable of challenging implementation decisions and keep critical infrastructure projects moving? At the end, it's about the leader who is driving the project. If you'd like to see more of my analysis, opinion, and insights, feel free to like this video. This will help the algorithm show new publications to you as they get posted. Thanks for watching.